Siyata Dishmaya, we're up to Yud Ches Amud Aleph in the Amud Yomi, learning the chizuk of ourselves, trying to up our game, thinking about the chayalim, the ptsuim, the chatufim. Hashem should bless them all, bless us to be bebriot haguf v'nefesh. So we're starting the third parak on the bottom of Yud Zayin Amud Beis. The Mishnah says, Misha Meisel Mutal Lefanav. Pater Mikriyat Shema, Uminat Tfilo, Uminat Tfilin, Mikom Mitzvos HaMortz B'Torah. That's our girsa. Some have a girsa without the Mikom Mitzvos HaMortz B'Torah. It's only in the Breita. But Misha Meisel Mutal Lefanav. A person that has one of the Shivat Krovim that you have to do Avelos. And that hasn't been buried yet. And it's Mutal Lefanav. As we'll see in the Gemara, it's not only literally Lefanav, but you have a chiyuv to be involved, but literally, at this point, we think it's lefanav. You're pater from kriyat shema, tefillin, and from tefillah, because you're tarud. Rashi says tarud b'machshavas kvurasa. It's like the chosin that you're pater from tirda the mitzvah. Could be the chiddush of these three, if you didn't have mikol mitzvahs and Torah, because they need extra kavana and extra zehirus in each one of these. The Mishnah continues. No se amita v'chalufien v'chaluf chalufien. Anyone who's carrying the coffin and all the substitutes, because there's a lot of people that's needed, right? They would switch because everyone wants it, and also technically they needed it. So the Mishnah says, both from the before that they're involved in it, and that they've already finished. If they need you, so then you're pater from Kriyat Shema, mitfilo, mitfilin. But shalachar mita, if it's afterwards, tzarech b'hem chayavim, if they need you, then even if they still are needing you to lavos zames, still you're chayav in the mitzvah, because after you finished, you're not tarud kokach in the mitzvot. So even if that's what Rashi says, afim tzarech b'hem chayavim ho shekvar yaltzi de chavasa min hames. You've already, and therefore it's not as tarud, since you've already, even if they need you, right? So you carry the mace already, even though they still need you to mimalav the mace, you're not chayv in the mitzvahs. Both, if they need you, and the ones that you've already carried and they don't need you, right? But still, you have to be malav the mace, are all pater min tefillah, because again, Rashi says the lav deoraisa. Right, because again, tefillah is not doraisa. And Rashi quotes Rabbi Seina Pirshu Lefi Sheish Lem Od Shao, so you got more time. Okay, Velini or Rashi doesn't like that language because that's not the language of Pater. Okay, so then we said after the Kvura, we know we have the Shura of the Nichum Avelim. So Kavrus Hameis V'Chazru from the base of Kvaros. Im Yecholim Lahascha V'Ligmor the Kriyat Shema Achale Agil Shura before Menachem the Avel. So yaschilu to read Kriyat Shema. V'imlav, that you don't have time to finish it, lo yaschilu. The fourth p'tur in the Mishnah, Omdim b'shura, if you're standing in that shura of Nichum Avelim, ha'pnimim, the ones who can see the Avel, part of Kriyat Shema. The chitzonim that can't see the faces of the Avel, chayavim in Kriyat Shema. Okay, so that is the Mishnah. So now the Gemara is medayik, that the Mishnah says if it's mutal lefanav, mesa mutal lefanav in, that's just part from these mitzvahs. But she'ena mutal lefanav, he's in a he's in one bias, and the mace is in a bias low or mini. But we have a question on the steer from Brisa. Mishu mesu mutal lefanav. The Brisa says ocha b'bayis acher. The halacha is for an onen they don't eat in not in front of the mace. That it shouldn't be loig larosh, shouldn't be mocking the poor. Zalz on the mace. V'mein lo bayis acher ocha b'beis chavero. V'mein lo beis chavero ti'id osim machitza between himself and the mace. Ocha. V'mein lo davar lasos machitza. Then he turns back his face. V'ocha. V'ein lo meis v'ocha. Right? They don't recline. Right? That they usually do. V'ein lo ocha basa v'ein lo shosi hayin. As an onen. V'ein lo mevarech. And you do not make a birchas hamotzi before the achila. And you don't have to make a birkas hamazon after the achila. The Right here, there's a whole machlokas between Rashi and Tosfos. Rashi says ve'ino mavarech. It's in tzarech levarech. Right, but if you wanted to, you could. According to the Yerushalmi, if you want to be machmir, in shomim lo. So ino mavarech means that you're not allowed to. Right, and that's because of kavod hameis, according to one reason, the Yerushalmi, or the second reason is because there's nobody else to be carrying the mace, taking care of the mace. That's the machlokas Rashi and Tosfos. Back to the Gemara. Ve'ino mezamin, we said he doesn't have to make a birkas hamazon after the achila. We turn to Yud Ches Amud Aleph. Ve'in mevarch alav, you don't have to have others make a bracha for you for birkas hamotzi. The ve'in mezamin alav, the own is not mitzaref to a zima. Upatim in kriyash min tefillah min tefillah mikol mitzvos amors b'Torah. This is all during the weekday because he's Torah and mitzvos kvura. But in Shabbos, where you can't bury the mace, and therefore the own is not Torah. In the mitzvos kvura, you are mesiv. You do mesiv. The Rabbeinu Yonah points out from here that on Shabbos, this is one of the proofs that maybe big hot machlokas of whether you have simcha on Shabbos. Someone in Medaik from this line that there is simcha on Shabbos because you're eating basar. We know in simcha basar v'yayin. V'ochel basar v'shos yayin. Umevarech and you have to make a birkas hamotzi. Umezamin you make a birkas hamazon. Umevarech alav. If others want to make the bracha for you, they could be motzi birkas hamotzi because you're chayv in birkas hamazon. Mezamin alav. Mitzvah for birkas hazimun. Chayv b'chol mitzvos mors b'Torah. Shem Gamliel Omer no mitoch shen chayv mitzvos elu. This chayav bekula. Since he's chayav in these mitzvahs, chayav in everything. The Gemara says, hold on a second. What's this machlokas between Tanakam and Shem Gamliel? Right? They're both saying you're chayav. And it's chayav b'chol mitzvahs on Shabbos. What's the difference? The difference between them is ta'ashiv shem mita ikabeinayu. They argue about the mitzvah of own on Shabbos. Tanakam holds that even on Shabbos, like a chol, that onin is not chayav in mitzvahs of own. Shem Gamliel holds no, that since you're chayav in all the mitzvahs, you're also chayav in mitzvahs ona. The next, but the Gemara says Ketani Miyas. What do we see in the Braita? That an onin is potter from Kriyat Shema minat tefillah mikomets to Torah, even when he's eating bebeis chavero. But in our Mishnah we said that he's potter from all the mitzvahs dafka when it's only meso motal lefanav, right? But the Braisa had said again, like we had said, even when you're eating bebeis chaveros, which is it? So Rav Papa Tirgama. That which we said in Onis Potter, Mikol Mitzvos, that's only on the case of Machzir Panava Ochel. In the last case, that says Oni doesn't have another bias. So he's turning his face and he's eating where the mace is. So there, the Brisa says he's Potter Mikol Mitzvos. But in Oni in a Chinami, if he's eating B'bayis Acher, even the Brisa says Mo that you're Chayv Mikol Mitzvos, like the Mishnah says. That's one answer. Vashi says a different answer. No, like we thought, and like I said originally. It's kim mota lefanav dami, right? So mota lefanav is lav dafka mamish lefanav, but it's your achrayas, and the raya that lefanav is not literally right in front of you mamish is from Parshas Chayisar. Shenamar vayakam Avram yal pnei meso, and we know that he's not mamish in front of Sarah, but still it says in the pasuk vekbara meisim lefanai. Calls it lefana, even though he's not there anymore. Why? Because calls man shemutal levakover kumatal lefanav dami. That's what the Mishnah means. Meis mutal lefanav. It's your responsibility. Your part to me call mitzvah mors Torah. Now the Gemara is medaik meso in. Maybe it sounds like only if it's meso, one of your krov, your part from these mitzvos. But mishamro, person who's been shomer on the mace, and he's not a karov, you're not part in the mitzvos vatan. We have a brighter not that way. Mishamro sa mace. Alpha Pisheno Meso, Patim Creation Tvilla, Uminat Filan, we come into more tower because you're being Osik and covered us a mace. Osik with a Patim and Mitzvah. So the Mari answers Mishamro, the Patim Mitzvah is Alpha Pisheno Meso. And that's the din of the Brisa versus Meso, the Onin who's Patim Mikola Mitzvahs, Alpha Pisheno Mishamro. And that's what the din of the Mishnah is, and therefore there is no stira between it. The Gemara asked from the Mishnah of the Brisa, we said Meso Motelafanav. Mishamro, or mishamro in your patim in mitzvahs. But if you're only being mahalach beis akvaros, not vatani, we have a different price. Lo yahalech adam beis akvaros. A person shouldn't walk in a cemetery. Tefillin barosho v'sefer tover b'zro v'korebo v'mosakein right? If you're going into the base of Kvaros, tefillin's on your rosh, and your Sefer Torah is on your hand, and you've got korebo, right? Or as Tosafot says, even that wadin if you're aser balpet to be likro. If you mosakein, you're over because of loig larosh cherafosei. If you're doing mitzvahs in front of Mason, you're mocking them because they can't do it. So therefore, even haolech bekvaros stam, you're patur min mitzvahs lav dafka meso or mishamro. Gemara says hasam. By the case of malach mesa kvaros is dafka toch arba amos of the kever or the maze. That's the aser. Chutz the arba amos you're chayav. Tamar maze tofes arba amos the kriyat shema. Valhacha. By the case of owning and shom maze, even if it's chutz the arba amos nami patur. Gemara says goof. We had talked about originallyAmishamer Samez. Person is watching the maze. Alpha Pisheno maze, so even though it's not your maze, so Patim Kriyashma. Minat Filo, and become Torah. But if, let's say there's two people, Shnaim watching over the maze, so you're able to do them both. Why? Zeh Mishamer, the other one is Koreh. And then afterwards, Zeh Mishamer Vizet Koreh. Benazai argues, Benazai Omer. If you have two shomer boim besvina with the mace, then maniach the mace in this corner, and they go together. Mitpalim shneim bezavis acheres. So what's the machlokas? My benai between ben kama. Excuse me, I'm very tired. Between the Tanakam and Ben Azai. My benayu. Omar Ravina choshen lach barimik benayu. The chashashas are we worried about mice, right? That the Tanakam Amar savar chashida. Even on a svina, and therefore, even on a svina, one person should watch over the mace, and the other one goes in davenance. Versus Ben Azai, he says, you don't have to worry about achbarim on a svina, and therefore both of them could go. You just leave the mace in the corner. You can go and daven. More kavanah mace. Tan Rabban hamolichat samos, a person who's bringing the bones of an adam mimakom lamakom. Do not put them. Harizalo yinem b'disakya. This bag or thing of leather, which they would put and put it on the chamor and ride on them. Why? Because if you do that, you're being noig by minag bizayu. But if you're afraid of nachrim nelistim goyim or bandits, and you need to ride on the chamor to run away from them, then mutter to sit on these atzamos u'kederach sha'amru ba'atzamos concludes the brisa. So too by Sefer Torah. The Gemara says, Ahaya. Which din are we saying? Kederach Shamar Batzamos Kacham Sefer Torah. Ilay Ma Reisha, if you're talking about the Reisha that says Kederach, that you can't sit on that Tzamos of a mace, B'shas Rechiva, so too it's also to sit on the Sefer Torah. That's Pshita. Migara Sefer Torah Mat Tzamos, but it's on the Sefer. It's talking about the Sefer, where you're running away, just like you could sit on a Tzamos of mace when you're afraid of Nachrim Listim, so too you could sit on the Sefer Torah when you're afraid of these bandits. Another halacha by Kavod HaMace. If you see a mace passing by and you do not escort it, not malav in the mace, you're over mishum again, loig larosh, you're mocking the poor cherfoseu. However, if you milveyu, what is the reward? Mascharo maravasi alav kasav omer continues over there in Mishlei chapter 19. Malveh Hashem chonein dal ugimulo yishalim lo. They darsh it as if it says milaveh, not malveh. Malveh means like to lend. Here milaveh means to escort. A person who does a chesed in escorting the poor, right? And there's no greater poor than the mace. So then it says, if you're being malave es Hashem. And that's what it says. Malave es ha-mace. Ushikdal cherafoseu mechabdeo chonein evyon. That if you're chonein, you're gracious with evyon, you're being machabed es Hashem sha'asahu, that made him. Gemara brings a mace by Loig Larosh. Rav Chiyav Rav Yoinis. Have a shakavaza. They were going, bebeis hakvaros. Have a kashajat chilto de Rav Yonason. Rav Yonason sits us. We're dragging on the kvarim. Amalei Rav Chiya to Rav Yonason, dalye, lift it up. Kedei shelo yomo mesim, in order that the mesim should not say l'machar boim etzleinu. Tomorrow they're coming to us. V'achshav mechafir, now they're cursing us. They're embarrassing us. They're being makayim the mitzvahs, and we're not able to. So Rav Chiya felt it sounds like that the mesim know what's going on. Rav Yonason says, "What are you talking about, Rav Yonason? Miyadikulai, did the mesim know what's going on?" For Ksiv it says, "Ke'achayim yodim she'amosu." But they don't know squat. So Amalei Rav Chiya answers, Im Karisa, if you read the pasuk that you did, Lo Shanisa, you didn't do Chazara. Im Shanisa, if you did Chazara, Lo Shilashta, you didn't learn the third time to really understand the parish. Im Shilashta, you did the third time, Whoever did it didn't explain it to you. Allah Pirshulcha. Because the pshat in the pasuk is Ki achayim yodim she'amusu, which means that tzaddikim, they know their misa's coming, right? And shebe misasa nikru chaim, they know they're going to die, and therefore they pay attention when the Yomi says, and they try not to do averos, as opposed to Rishoim. They have no idea. Ein yudim me'uma. They make themselves like they don't know, and therefore they sin. So Rabbi Chi in the middle of the pasuk stops right now to prove that tzaddikim misasam is nikrum chaim. This is where the end. Shenamar and Shmuel bet. It says Ubenayahu ben Yehuda ben Ishchai Rav Palim mikavtzel huika shnei Ariel Moav v'irav ikat Ari betocha bor biyom ha-sholek. As we turn to Yirchet Amabet, the Gemara says, Ben Ishchai. So the Gemara says, Atakul Yama b'nei Mesinenu, right? Is the whole world b'nei Mesinenu? Ella Ben Ishchai, the parish of Shafila b'misasan karu chai. That even since the father of Benayahu was a tzaddik, Yehoiada was a tzaddik, of tzaddikim, even misasam kruim chayim. Rabbi Chia continues darshaning the pasuk. Rav Palim mikavtzel sheriba v'kibetz Paul in the Torah. Right, he was increased the workers for Torah for the covenant of Hashem. Huikat shnei arile Moav shlo iniach gadol kamosa lo mikdash harishon lo mikdash hasheni. So we will pick up. Let's just finish this part. V'yarad v'yikat hari b'toch habora b'yom hashalag. Ikadar, some say the tavar gzizi the bardov and nachav v'tava, that he broke pieces of hail and ice, and he covered a pit on the day of a snow, right? And he went and dipped in Kedei Lasok Batorah, right, for his carry. Sifra de Rabbi Yoma de Sifsa, that he learned all of the Sifri, Torah's Kohanim, on one day of Chorif. Now we're going to go back to, we'll start tomorrow with what we had already said already, V'amesim Einim Yodim Me'uma.